Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to What Do You Say Anime. My name is Peter, and welcome to Anime Watch Club, a bi-weekly group discussion and review podcast where we nominate and vote on shows and meet here to discuss. On today's episode, we will be talking about the 1999 cult classic, Now and Then, Here and Now. Join me first today. You have seen him on Canada's Got Talent in the stands. Johnny, how's it going?
I'm doing good, except for the fact that you said the name of the show wrong, but it's now and then, you just make a mistake, so let's just move on.
What did I say?
You said now
here
and then,
and now.
here and now.
Wow, I legit tried to say the correct thing and I still got it wrong. So
Well, now and then we just make mistakes.
Yes.
So let's move on.
My apologies. Hopefully the cast corrected my errors, but
That's
Johnny,
neither here nor there.
Yeah, no kidding. Johnny,
Yeah, let's move on.
Johnny, thank you for joining us. Next, his name is merely a mark that hides his ever disdain towards our political structure, and hope one day President Gargura will lead us to a land of eternal peace. We have Happy. Happy, how's it going?
I have nothing to say to that.
Well, we're glad to have you. We're glad to have you. You've seen him hanging around Petco, hissing at dogs, and buying copious amounts of pet toads. We have Cat. Cat, how's it going?
I am doing great. A little bit drunk, a little bit tipsy, but I'm ready to talk about now and whenever there and yeah.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah, it's
something like that.
Right.
We're actually
I
watching
think
the
that's alcohol.
We're watching the Ice Cube movie. Are we there yet? Actually, so.
And now and then, are we there yet?
Yes, exactly. Next up, our first moderator of the night. You see him getting busy in a Burger King bathroom, and he is also Taylor Swift's #1 simp. We have Miles. Miles, how's it going?
That was an Arby's, actually.
Oh, Nihilist Arby's. You are correct. My bad.
Yes, but we're doing good. I just had a delicious roast beef sandwich that I found in a trash can, and I'm ready to talk about something else I found in a trash can.
Ooh, nice.
Ooh.
And our last moderator of the night, Pat.
Emails. Okay, there we go. Yep. Okay. Well, yeah. Now and then, here and there. Hello. Excited to talk about a show that I expected a lot out of, and we'll see if it delivered or not. All right. Thanks, Pete.
You're welcome, Pat.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? It's an upgrade. I'm no longer the Australian basketball player, so I'm feeling good. But yeah, God, that threw me off so quick. So
I was
hard
hoping
to
it
do,
would.
a completely different intro. I was not mentally ready for that. Yeah, so we voted on this show that I have nominated for God knows how many months for Watch Club, called Now and Then, Here and There. It debuted in 1999 in the fall season, way back then. Good 21 years ago, and I don't know. It's like Pete said, it is a bit of a cult classic. It seems to have a pretty good rating on Mal. I'd heard people in the anime community talking about it before. Every review I read on Amazon and Mal seemed pretty much positive, and that it was like, oh, really impactful for the future of anime, or current anime, I guess is a better way to put it. So yeah, we're going to do our usual first impressions. So, what do you think going into it? What do you expect? Your first few episode impressions without spoilers. So, Miles, why don't you start us off?
Yeah. Initially, going into it, all I knew was that it was an isekai. It was sort of like I don't know if it's like the father of isekai, but it was a much earlier isekai and like influential on modern day isekai in some way. The first few episodes are very impressive in the way that they all could have been one episode. Like in the first 4 episodes, let's say, you probably could have had like I'm not gonna just say like an episode and a half was probably sufficient for the events that happened in the first like 4 episodes. Episode 3 is extra special in the way that literally nothing happened. The plot was progressed exactly 0, which I don't think I've ever seen before in a show. I know that like filler and stuff is common, but I don't watch a lot of like these like long run shonen type shows that are prone to filler. Now, like you might think like a recap episode or something, but this wasn't a recap episode.
No.
Just an episode of the show. And we'll talk about it later. I have a bit, but nothing happened. Would I recommend this show? No, I would not. I wouldn't. Don't watch this show. There's so many shows that do just what this show does, but not awful. So don't watch this show.
Not awful. Damn. All right. Well, that's what Miles thinks about the show. He thinks it is not awful. So
Whoa.
there we go.
I think
know,
the
I'm
other
kidding.
show.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. All right. Cat is back. What have you got for us? What do you think?
The cat is most certainly back. Yes, I am. So personally, I have to say that I completely agree with Miles. In fact, I'm going to go a step further than Miles and literally say I did not care about the show at all for the first 3 episodes. Nothing captured my attention. I didn't care about any of the characters. I didn't care what was happening. And here's the thing. I feel like, because the last 2 episodes I literally watched in the past, like, probably hour. I put it on 2 times speed. And honestly, it was more enjoyable that way. But I could also tell how bad it was. But here's the thing. With anime like that, I really want to be encaptured. I want to be enthralled by it. But all I get from now and then, here and there, or now and there, are we there yet? All I get from that is, hey, here's an anime. Be happy. Like, it feels like the type of anime that an old head would recommend to me and be like, this is the show I had to wait for 6 months to come out before it actually came out. And then I had to wait 6 more months for it to come on VCR. And this is how anime was. This is how anime should be. And I'm like, no. Just because this came out when you were my age doesn't mean that it's better. It means that you were starved for any type of media and that I have a better range and a better selection. And you get mad at that. So that's on you. Anyway, I'm moving on to Johnny.
The cat just zoomered us.
Yeah, Kat, how do you really feel?
Yeah.
That's how I really feel. That's the first time I'm drunk on the show, so
there we go. Okay. Well, moving on. Johnny, you also felt, from my impression at least, pretty poorly about this show. You felt it was very boomerish too. What are your takes?
Well,
What's your first
as the resident actual Zoomer here, I am going to agree with Kat, but also say that the show did more than just make me not interested. The show watching it is like, I felt it was insulting my intelligence. The main character is like probably the worst 5 characters I've ever seen in anime, like including like I don't even know where to begin. He's like,
I agree. He's like what people pretend Senji and Subaru are. Like that's him.
He's like if Shinji became a drug addict and like became super like hyper instead of like depressed, you know. And then like
so
he
the
goes
exact opposite character of Shinji, but yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So that's what I mean. It's like but okay.
He's like him, but he's not because he's the exact
either way.
Anyways,
He gets
go
onto a
ahead,
pipe and talks to the dollar store Aqua, and then he gets transported to like Final Fantasy or whatever. There's a big spaceship. There's dead children. Like
a lot of dead children.
He's just accepts it. He's like, don't worry, everything's gonna be fine. He's like Shonen MC. And then not to spoil anything, but it also ends like a Shonen MC because he wins with the power of friendship. So I'm like, the fuck is this? Like, maybe I'd enjoy this if I was like 3 years old. like, it's insulting. I didn't enjoy this. I'm not going to recommend it.
All right. Cool. So yeah, the recommendation for 3-year-olds. To
Oh,
watch
yeah.
now and
I
there
don't-
and
I
here
don't
and there.
recommend this show.
Be sure to
either.
watch this with your babies.
You
That's-
watch this with your
I mean,
children.
honestly, I think babies will relate with the main character because they're all stupid.
I relate to the main character, so I guess I'm just stupid. But yeah, okay, Pete, go ahead.
I'm not gonna be as harsh as these guys. I did.
Yeah,
say,
seriously,
I
what
did
the
say
hell?
when after I watched episode 1, I was like, if I was like dying, I think I would really like this show. And the more that I watch like retro anime, the more that I agree with Miles that anime wasn't good until like 2007. And I try not to like hate on these retro anime for like the faults that it has, like the production and stuff like that. The first 3 episodes episode 3 was bad. Like the narrative was driven 0, the plot didn't move. Actually, a laser did go pew pew, so the narrative was moved just a smidge.
Yeah, a little
But
bit.
I mean, it wasn't nothing like stood out as me as like bad, like grotesquely bad in any way. Nothing was good about it either. But I was watching it, I was like, this was an enjoyable 90s anime for the first 3 episodes. Let me put it that way. Would I recommend this? I'm like bordering on that. I think if you're a fan of isekai and like the good guy wins and the MC is the dude and like he's always the dude no matter what the situation is, I think you'll enjoy it. I think if you're looking for something a little bit more to wrap your brain around and think about and have like a conversation, I don't really think this is the show, but I don't think it's as bad as like the others kind of like put it into frame.
All right, fair enough. I guess I'll go. Yeah, I don't know. So again, I nominated this. And even with me nominating it, I'm definitely not as high on it as I wanted to be. I don't know if that's partly from finishing it right away and being like, "Oh, that was pretty okay," to then having to go for pretty much 2 weeks worth of people just being like, "This show is the worst. I hate this. This is what is going on. Why would anyone ever watch this or recommend this show?" I had to deal with that for the past 2 weeks, so maybe that's jaded me a little bit. But I will agree
Oh,
that it was not what I wanted it to be. It was very, like everyone has said, the first few episodes. I was actually intrigued because I remember the first night I watched like the first 3 episodes because I was just curious. I was like, oh yeah, I can't wait to start this show. I finally got nominated for Watch Club. It's been like well over a year since I started nominating it. Like I don't know, like let's check it out. And then I do remember, like, especially around the 3rd episode being like, well, yeah, this is going pretty slowly. I wonder what's gonna happen or what is going on. I don't know. I didn't find it offensively bad like it sounds like other people did. I thought like, yeah, is the main character a little annoying? Is he dumb? Like, yeah, but so are a lot of main characters. But I can definitely also see how this show could have been seen as an influence on anime, like in terms of like modern isekai or modern shonen. But there were plenty of other shonen and shows that did the exact same thing but better at this time. So I think it would be, well, it's like saying like, okay, this show was created the isekai genre. It's like, well, no, Inuyasha literally existed like the same exact time as the show,
Or
right?
like Dot Hack or something like that.
or something that is much more well liked
Or like
well received.
Digimon.
better.
Yeah. I don't know. So that's where I'm at with this. I don't know, man. I wanted to like it more than I did. I think I liked it more than anyone else here did. Um and I think I will be defending it for most of the time, but would I recommend this? Like Pete said, if you're like an old guy, if you really like this old style of anime, like retro, then maybe give it a shot. But I don't know, it wouldn't have done anything. Like if this debuted now, if this came out in 2021, I think that this would be like received almost like XR, almost, with the
That's
level of
aggressive, but I see what you're saying.
maybe not that bad, but it would be constantly looked at and been like what the fuck is going on here? Like, why is it not better, or what is going? Why are there so many errors? Why is it? What is this logical fallacy? Blah blah blah. Whatever. But yeah, so would not recommend it to most people. All right. We will probably be moving along to our spoiler section then. We most of us have given our first impressions. So now if you don't want to be spoiled about the show,
Hey Pat,
yeah.
can I bring something up that's more like a show canon a little bit?
Can you do it after I finish the spoiler warning?
Sure, why not?
Thanks, Kat. All right. So just keep in mind if you want to watch this show, and not be spoiled by all of our obvious love and showering of affection that we're going to be giving it in the next half an hour to 45 minutes, please pause us and come back to us later. But otherwise, spoilers are free reign now going forward for now and then, and here and there. So go ahead, Kat. What is the show lore that we're going to be pulling out today?
Well, I wasn't really talking about like now and there and there and then. I was talking about like this show's lore, as in what do you say, anime?
Correct.
As in,
I understood.
so how does it feel to be in the hot seat like I was during
It
one
feels
of the worst shows that I've ever been on?
I don't know. It feels a little different because I didn't come in saying this is one of my favorite anime. I came in saying I have never heard anyone talk illy or poorly of this show that came out 20 years ago. But I don't know. Same thing happened with Tadaku Never Falls in Love. That did not receive the warm, loving reception that I expected it to. But it's okay because I don't know. I feel like I'm going to be doing a lot of defending, and I won't be changing a lot of minds today. But I am ready for the challenge that is defending a show that I still also don't think is that fantastic. But yeah, does anyone have a specific talking point that they want to touch on first? So
Ooh,
Miles, I know.
Yes.
Oh wow, we got
Oh,
a.
Miles first. Miles first.
I was gonna say.
So, I
Okay.
mean,
because
I want to get into the theme of the show at some point, but we can save that for a little bit later.
we should save that. 'cause
I want
that's
to
a
talk
fun
about episode 3. I really want to talk about episode
one. I
3.
knew you did.
What
so
is
I'm
there
glad-
to talk about?
It's amazing to me that this happened. At the beginning of episode 3, our main character, Shu, is in the prison in Hollywood after they torture him to find out if he knows where Lala Rue's pendant is. And they determine he does not. Because he does not. He is in the prison. He meets Sarah, our, third most main character, maybe. And tied with maybe that one child soldier. So he talks to Sarah a little bit, maybe 5 minutes worth. She's from the United States. They both speak Japanese or English. I don't know. How does the sub handle that, by the way?
They just
speak.
they just speak Japanese, even though she says.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I think it's implied in the dub that she doesn't fully understand what he's saying. I don't know.
I didn't get that in the
I wasn't
sub at
sure
all.
if the
No,
dialogue
Not in the
was
sub, in
that.
the dub.
in the-
I'm saying in the dub. I don't know. Wait, so yeah. By the way, who did we all? I know I watched the dub because I paid for it on Amazon.
Yeah, I
and
paid for
not
it.
have-
Actually,
I did not have the option to watch sub.
Yes,
or
I
was
also
actually
paid
watched
for
the
it.
dub.
You paid to watch the sub. Good for you.
I paid to watch the sub. Wink.
Yeah.
Good
I
for
watched
you,
the
Pete.
dub.
I also paid to watch.
I tried to give you an out, but it's okay. There we
You
go.
did give me an out, and I used that out, and I paid for it legally.
Of course.
I
Yeah,
paid
you
for it with
Bitcoin.
cold hard-earned cash.
Okay,
Yes.
so we have what, five dubs and a Pete's the sub.
I'm also a sub.
Okay, so
I watched
four-
the
four to
last
two.
2 episodes dubbed.
Okay,
If I watch 90s anime dubbed, I think I'm actually gonna pass out.
I didn't find the dub to be that bad.
I thought it was
However-
fine. I thought it was
There were a
fine.
couple annoying characters, I think. Like the voice for the main character, you got to just get used to. But I actually
He's
loved
worse in
Hondo.
sub.
Yeah, I thought Hondo was good.
Hondo was so fun. The guy went all in on the maniacal character, and I thought it was great. I actually enjoyed it. Nabucco was okay, this is a child that sounds like he's 30, but he's still partly because of him being very mature, but also just his voice just sounded too old for him to be like a 12, 14-year-old child soldier. But either way, that's just 90s anime dubs again. I didn't think that any of them were particularly like bad. You know, like Abelia sounded like the monotone single, you know, just I am doing what I'm ordered to do kind of voice that she was supposed to have.
Nabuka was Yamayuki, his voice actor for the dub.
Really?
So yeah,
Hmm.
which is kind of fun. So okay, episode 3.
Yes.
They then bring him in to torture him some more, which is the exact same thing that happened in episode 2, to find out if he knows where the pendant is. They do that for like the episode. They determine he does not know where the pendant is. They throw him back in the prison.
Yeah.
And that's the end of it. That's the episode. You
They
get
blow up a
some
town,
more.
too.
You get some world building in there.
You forgot the
There-
lasers.
He does see, while he's being like hung up, like a town attacks Hollywood that we didn't know existed, and then they blow the town to smithereens. So now we essentially never needed to know about that town. And I guess it demonstrates the strength of the ship that they're on, which is, I mean, important world building. I will admit, it is a 5-second scene in this entire episode, though. But nothing happens. Nothing happens in the episode.
I think the purpose of that episode, it starts out with him talking to Sarah and being like, no, be positive. There's always good, right? And then that's supposed to demonstrate, like, what's his cardinal belief? Like, how is he defined, right? And then I think it shows him getting literally, again, just beaten senseless for no reason, hung up, strung up like a goddamn piece of meat, you know, like literally hanging there, clinging to life. I think and then he still comes back and says to Sarah, hey, stay positive. We can still do this, or we'll make it through this. As long as you're alive, there's still like meaning to your life or a purpose for you, right? And I think the whole point of that was to show that even after he has witnessed, and because he did witness while he was hanging there, the destruction of another city and the power and the might of Hamdo and Hollywood, I think the purpose was to show that he is still this endless optimist, and I think that demonstrated it. Again, do I think that that's the best way to go about it? And do I think that other things going to happen in this episode? For sure. But I also don't think nothing happened in this show, like the way you're describing it.
But nothing. Why not just do that in episode 2? We just have him be in prison, and then the first time he's tortured, just have that stuff happen, and then have him thrown in, and then do that, and then continue, instead of having him be tortured, thrown in, taken out, tortured again for the exact same reason, and then thrown back in, and then taken out and conscripted into the army.
I don't know.
Okay.
I mean,
I agree with you. We do learn things about the characters.
Mm-hmm.
But I just don't think... I mean, I think it was just done really bad.
Yes.
Like, it was bad.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Does anyone else have thoughts on this?
Can I take team off that? Because I think...
please do.
Because the whole time I was thinking exactly what you said. I think a lot of times what this show could have done is cut the needless stuff that they'd thrown in and make this a movie. And I think it would have been way better as a movie. The whole time I was thinking, even like the vibe I got from it was like, this really feels like I'm watching like a 90s film. And I kind of wish that they could have done that more, because I think they could have actually done more with the story based off of just making it a movie, because you would get so much more clear, just like the storyline itself, because a lot of times in the story, it seems like they're a little all over the place sometimes. And I feel like if they condensed it, made it shorter, it could have been like a 2-hour film. And I think they could have got the full story in a 2-hour film.
That's an interesting point. I didn't even think about that like that, but I definitely agree that this would be better suited for a movie. Which, by the way, it does help to point out that this was an anime original.
Yes, I should mention that.
We should mention that this was not sourced by any manga, light novel, anything. This was an original work by director Akitaro Daiichi, which let's take a quick look. Has he done literally anything else that I know? Oh, the original Fruits Basket, like from Dean. He directed that. So
can I mention something?
Yeah, go ahead.
So I would like to mention that. Okay, so anime originals, and I know this may not exactly be the best like comparison to anything or not. But like I don't think anime original excuses it from being bad. Like personally, I think the fact that it's an anime original and you know is going to go straight to a video medium, you can cater things to a video medium. Like, of course, manga sometimes is angled at becoming an anime, but sometimes it's not. And the fact that some mediums, some manga become really, really good anime because of the directors that are directing it, um, it's really, really good. But sometimes when you have an anime original, you can cater it to be a better medium on anime rather than just being a manga. And personally, I think that it wasn't due to it wasn't due to it being an anime original. It was due to just being a terrible show. That's just my opinion.
Okay.
I think you
It was
contradicted yourself in that
budgetary.
sentence, but
I don't know. I kind of see what Kat's saying because like a lot of the time, like, what are the advantages of being an anime versus like being a manga? Right? You have like animation and sound and all of this stuff
Voice.
and
creative
the
freedom.
voice and these are well yeah, true. I mean, I was saying as opposed to like writing a manga, I guess.
Gotcha.
But yeah, I mean, adapting one creative freedom. But this show does not take advantage of animation because it's complete garbo, even for the 90s. The sound
it's really
design
bad.
isn't very good. Um,
Oh, you're right.
it's yeah, like
It was bad.
you honestly like if this story was a manga, a lot of the problems I had with it, and I do have problems with the story and the messaging, but sometimes my worldview is just different than the director's worldview, and I'm gonna like that's okay. Like Violet Evergarden, for example, like but like Violet Evergarden, I had problems with its messaging, but like in no world would I ever pretend like that's a bad quote unquote anime. Like it's gorgeous, and the animation is beautiful, and the sound design is otherworldly, and this is I don't think there is an aspect of it that is above average, to be perfectly honest. Does anyone have anything?
Do you
like,
remember the scene where Sarah was punching Lalaru by any chance?
Yes.
It sounded like Sarah was punching a sponge. That was the noise that they were making for getting popped in the face. And they're like swings. She's not like jabbing her. She is taking full on swings. It's like sponge. It's like boop, 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 boop. And the guns were awful. The guns sound like airsoft guns.
Oh my god, yeah.
Happy, what were your thoughts on do you think anything was done above average, or was there something you thought was particularly done poorly? Like, what are you thinking with this discussion?
So I would say I never really noticed like the bad animation. It looked very 90s. Actually, I thought of Akira when I first watched it, but maybe it wasn't that great because Akira actually had really good animation. But then I think Pete sent that screenshot where like Nabuka had half
He was
disappeared or whatever.
in a wood piece, and it wasn't for like a frame. It was like 3 seconds where he's just this ghost inside of a bookshelf.
3 seconds is a frame in this show.
That's true. I should say, sorry, in retro terms, it was a frame.
There's also that one part where everything like went like super slow motion, like
the gun scene in episode 12.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Oh, the slow motion gun is like.
Yeah, that.
Oh,
that was awful. That was
that's
awful.
a good. Yeah, that's a good. It was It took all of the tension from this scene, which involves like a 7-year-old sacrificing himself, and made me wonder what is actually happening because it was just still frames. Like
I didn't know what was happening either. Like it literally took me like 30 seconds to figure out what the hell was going on. Like
exactly. Okay, so personally, oh, were you going?
No, you go. That's all I got to say for now.
I got you. Well, for me personally, I watched it in 2 times speed, and like 2 times speed is normally easier for me to process things, especially when it's slow like this shit. Like I watched it. I watched the first 11 episodes all together. Not necessarily all together, but like I watched them together in sub. And then I watched the last 2 episodes really, really quickly because I wanted to be on the podcast because I wanted to like hang out with you guys. Well, when I watched it, like it's not even just because it takes so long. Because like I was watching it and was like taking a long time in 2 times speed. Like I thought I was watching it in 1 time speed. Check the speed and realized it was not in 1 time speed. It was 2 times speed. And I was like, oh my God, what did these guys watch? And I just don't understand it. Like I don't understand the pacing of what's going on in these frames for this anime. This is I I there are so many more frames that I could talk about in the 12th and 13th episode because of this. But I'm gonna move on from that for the time being.
Just real quick for Kat, I thought I was having internet problems based off the frames. Like I thought I was lagging and like the screen froze. That wasn't
it
the
was
case.
lagging. It was
Exactly.
lagging. Just
You
it
were
just
lagging.
got-
You were
Maybe the
watching.
studio
wasn't your
crashed and
fault.
they didn't
The
notice.
studio lagged IRL.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
Y'all are way pickier than I am. I did not really notice
Dude,
anything.
episode 12 was awful.
How did you
How
not
do you
I-
not notice?
Well, like I noticed the slow mo scene, and I was like, all right, that was weird. But like I wasn't paying. I guess maybe I probably because I had just been binging the final few episodes. Like while I watched like 3 episodes, and I watched like 8 of them back to back because I was just like, wow, this is
Maybe you went numb from watching it the entire
don't know.
show.
You
It's like,
just got
it's like
used
this
to
is
the
normal
crash.
now. This is fine.
I don't know. Well, like obviously I did. So like yeah, I would notice like this random still frames or the awkward transitions or the wow, this is moving really slowly or this is the same reused animation thing. But like I didn't notice like particularly that it was that awful. Like again, maybe I'm just numb to it. I guess yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, just thinking back on like 90s anime, like what I watched as like a kid growing up. I've rewatched like Yu-Gi-Oh, I've rewatched Digimon and stuff like that. Nothing even like remotely close to that happened in those shows.
Ooh, I don't know about that. I think a lot of reused.
I mean, they have bad animation, but like the framing of like how they handle like the actual like animation itself. You can say whatever you want about the animation quality, but like how it's actually produced, it was like day and night in terms of these 90s like retro anime.
I guess I
Yeah,
don't know. I think I remember just seeing Pot of Greed or Magical what's her name Magical Wizard Girl whatever. God, I'm
Dark Magician Girl?
Dark Magician Girl come out of the same card and it's a 30-second animation. It's the same exact thing every single time, every single episode.
But that has motion to it. In episode 5, which was aptly titled "Murder" because someone gets murdered.
Yep.
Actually, what it's called.
Yeah,
It is. Yeah, the title of it's "Murder." And like
Yeah, so what?
people
Okay.
were like really caught up about like someone murdering an actual assassin, but whatever.
Oh my god, I forgot.
No,
so
no, the
bad.
murder wasn't the murder the soldier that was trying to
It was the assassin because we
The
find out
assassin.
later with Soon. We
Right.
meet Soon, which was the daughter.
Yes. Okay. So that's the murder. Okay. I thought it was the when Sarah takes things into her own hands, which I actually think was a good scene. So we can get to that.
Yeah,
later.
no,
I had a
that
couple
was
good
not.
moments.
That
That was
that
episode
was a
6
decent
then.
scene.
That was
Yeah.
like episode 6. All right. Never mind then. So but yeah. So the murder episode. Yeah.
So after the murder happens, there is no noise, nothing, which can be powerful and wasn't in this case. Just framed on Shu's. It was Shu's face for 17 seconds, and then some bystander's face for 3 seconds, and then what's his name? Yamayugi's character, Nabuka, for like
Nabuka.
3 more
Naruto?
seconds.
Yeah.
And then Shu's face for 13 seconds. So in 40 seconds, I timed this. 30 seconds of the exact same frame of Shu's face with no noise.
Yep.
Now, I'm going to admit something about myself. That sounds like something, if the right director did it, I'd be here talking about how fucking great that is. But you know what?
Yeah, elevator
This isn't
scene.
that show.
Yeah,
This isn't Tommy
yeah, what about
Galaxy.
that elevator
This is a
scene?
human echo, so you know.
This
You're
inspired-
thinking of Evangelion.
Yeah, this
The
inspired
well,
that elevator
honestly,
scene,
the
yeah.
Evangelion fucking elevator scene, overrated. I'm sorry, Trent. Like,
Really?
you know,
I love
It's
it.
like those
Yeah.
2 minutes of
I think it's
silence.
because I hate the elevator scene in Drive, and also I hate the movie Drive.
I love Drive. Those are fighting words, bro.
Yeah, Drive is
Fair
the
enough.
fucking Hollywood version of Now and Then Here and There, Pete.
Wow.
But we
Take
can
it
talk about
outside.
that
You
later.
better,
Take
you
it
better
outside,
watch your
guys.
back at your
Take
own
it at the
wedding.
wedding. Settle at the wedding.
You're a red wedding me.
Yeah.
So, like, and that was just the most egregious example. But like, holy shit, were there not multiple examples of frames just hanging on for like 6 seconds?
Yeah.
And that doesn't seem like a long time, but count 6 seconds out, it's a long time. Like,
Okay, so like I think anime is like what 24 frames per second now, usually.
I
Where's-
don't know.
Let's go
30.
with it.
Yeah. Okay, so let's assume it's 24 frames. So what's that? 24 times 6. That's like fucking how many frames? Like
Let's see. No, do the
140
math.
something.
Do the math. Let's see it.
24 times 6. That's like 140 something. I don't know.
Oh, you almost got it.
What was it?
It's 96 plus 48, so 134.
Okay, close enough. Yeah. So
140.
so in a modern
144.
Damn it,
Okay,
I was
so-
down.
Carry the one.
I
Carry
was
the
pretty
one.
damn
Damn it,
close
Pat.
to my mental.
We're not a
math.
math podcast.
I'm Asian, so but anyway.
What was your process of elimination there, Johnny? How did you do it?
I don't know, I
go
just-
through
Yeah,
it.
tell us how you broke down 24 times 6 real quick.
I have
thank
Asian,
you.
I have Asian genes,
That's
but
what I
anyways.
figured. Everyone wants to hear that. So
Yeah,
that's why
come on, Johnny.
I asked. Yeah,
I said I have Asian genes, but anyway.
Okay,
so-
there
you're
you go.
wearing jeans in the middle of summer?
that's
Okay,
crazy.
It's
He's
Canada.
in
It's
Canada.
freezing.
It's got to be freezing up there, right?
It's constantly negative 30. There's a polar bear outside my house right now. It is fucking terrifying.
No, polar bears are only in
But,
Antarctica.
anyways, talk about now and then here and there. Where's my pants? So why do I care? Anyways, so
That was a nice rhyme.
24 frames in 6 seconds. That's 144 possible frames, and they had one.
Well, yeah. Well, most anime probably have like 8 in that, but yeah. Okay, that's fair.
Some anime also have 60 frames per second for like really good scenes. But anyways, that is like
Okay.
The frame rate was
ridiculous.
really low. I mean, it was.
But like okay, so let's give the show the benefit of the doubt. Maybe like it had a low budget. Maybe like the budget for the show was like a 6-year-old's pocket money. Probably the same 6-year-old that voice acted the kid. But like let's move on from that. Like so like I want to talk about like the actual story of the show and the message
I
and
do
how I think it is absolutely like awful. No, okay, so like
Shoo, you stupid idiot.
not in the concept, but the execution is just Chihuahua diarrhea dog shit level.
That's aggressive.
Okay.
That's aggressive.
I don't
had
know.
some
I-
nice things
I-
to
It's
say.
not aggressive. It's true.
I agree, Johnny. I think this is, as far as messaging goes, like the message that it is trying to tell me is displayed in the worst way I have ever seen, possibly in media.
Okay, yeah. So like, we get it. The main character is a stupid optimist. He thinks that everything will go right. But here's the thing: he doesn't work towards any of that. He just hopes it happens. Like, I say what he does to actively change the plot is next to none until the end when Discount Aqua decides that this little kid is worth sacrificing her tens of thousands of years for. Like what does he actually do for the plot besides like I guess he did like save Lauru for like a little bit, but like Miles, help me out here.
I generally like he does things. Like it's not like he does nothing, but he mostly does nothing. He just like grabs his stick and like goes around and tells people not to be violent or that the world's a great place. It's like, I know you've been raped like 6 times, but the world's great.
It could have
And-
been 7.
You know, like it's just it's
there's
so.
still a purpose to life. You might as well live
But
it.
like, of course,
it could
there's still
always get better. They could
the
always get
issue.
better.
It could always get worse, you know?
Yeah, like it's like I understand that he's King Hamdo. He's literally a dictator. He's actively oppressing people and taking on child soldiers and ordering people to have sex with women in order to like produce children. But we shouldn't kill him. We could probably talk it out. That's what he said. That's a thing he did. And then La LaRue finally just fucking murders him. And she didn't really intend to. He happened to be really dumb and like drown himself. And who knows how many other innocent people died in that, but that's beyond the point. I'm sure everyone got out of the massive flooding fucking Hollywood.
Miles.
Cat. Yes.
Do you think they are actually innocent in this case? Because they are in Now and Then. Are we there yet?
Yes. I think that like also the complete lack of sympathy. Thank you for bringing this up, Kat. That our main protagonist had for actual child soldiers is insane to me. It's insane to me. He's like, oh, you don't need to listen to their orders. You don't need to kill people. And it's like these people were taken from their homes when they were like 5. Their parents were murdered.
Miles, I just thought of a great analogy for this. It's like when white girls on Twitter tell people like, "Hey, you shouldn't be doing this." Yeah. It's like, how do you know what's going on?
He's like the fucking invisible children guy. Like, just
I said we're oppressed
I completely
today.
understand that.
I will solve your problem. I will send for you. Your problems are solved now. You're welcome.
Like I don't mind when he's saying dumb shit. No, I said we're oppressed. I'm black though. I'm the one that gets to make the decision. Like
the annoying part is he is never punished for his worldview comparative to where he lives. He is a child soldier. He has been conscripted after actively trying and like disobeying their god king and all of this stuff, trying to like take down the empire in some way and protecting their number one fugitive. They don't kill him. They put him into the fucking military. He then actively disobeys orders all of the time. They don't kill him. They've already killed so many people for so many less things. They're like, yeah, like we'll supply you with food and supply like money and everything, but like please just don't like don't take our women. And they're like, yeah, bam, 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 you're all dead. This guy's like, I'm gonna release all of the children and also actively fight against my superior officers who go against direct orders. And they're like, yeah, I don't know, throw him in the jail or something. I'm sure nothing will happen. It's just like
I also love how they just let him fucking fight with a stick.
I never. Also, bring a gun, you jackass! I hated the scene where he took the stick. Johnny, yes, thank you.
He's Neo from the Matrix.
Okay. How does he even get the stick? Because from the show, I haven't seen a single fucking tree.
He brings the stick with him, I think.
Okay, did he bring it with him?
I think he was using the stick to fight 2 giant metal dragons on Earth.
He was.
Okay, yeah, so I don't think that helps us try to explain the situation here, but like...
I don't know how he didn't break the stick until the end when it was like emotionally impactful. I don't know how he didn't fucking die
30 seconds into the show, but... You know.
He should... Yeah, that's honestly my problem. He never, ever thought to himself, ever, I understand why these people are the way they are.
He acts like Naruto, except he doesn't have chakra. He has
it's like I haven't seen Naruto, but does Naruto involve like I don't know, Hinata getting raped like 3 times, and then he's like, you should keep the rape baby, and he talks to her about how much of a blessing the rape baby is, because that happened in this. That is insane to me. There was no empathy for her situation. There was just like grandstanding, moral grandstanding about it. It was, and the annoying thing about this is that it was clearly coming from like a good place, but the kid was just yes, Kat.
Okay, so I want to relate this to one of the things that I have to deal with in a long time, and like a lot. Sorry, a little bit tipsy. So this is something that I actually have to deal with on the regular, and it is the like white knight syndrome. Like you should be Like you should be okay. Like you're black, but it's okay. It's okay. You can do this. And I'm like, I don't need your sympathy. Like I'm figuring out fine. I know what I want to do. I know what I can do. I just don't need your approval. But you do need my approval. Like it's the middle-aged white ladies trying to get me to understand what the fuck I need to do with my own fucking life. I'm black. I know what I'm gonna do. I have a plan. You don't know me. Go back to shopping, Lisa. Like, leave me alone.
He reminds me of the people who are just like, when someone's like, yeah, I've been like dealing with depression and stuff, and they're just like, I don't understand, just like don't be depressed. And then, like, that's him. Anyways, Happy, you said you had a question. What do we got?
Yeah, I do have a question. So you were saying like there was all this big like moral grandstanding with Shu, and I see what you're saying, but that made me think, okay, well, how does this compare? Because this is technically an isekai, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So how would you say this compares with like Kirito or Belle or Subaru? You know, the other popular isekai protagonists.
My main thought and the difference between like
Actual
one,
personality, first of all.
Kirito doesn't do a lot of like the world's so great kind of stuff. Kirito's a little bummed out most of the time. And he has the power to like, this is gonna be like, Kirito is much more aware of where he is, and that the fact that he's in this world fucking sucks. And he looks for the good in it, and he forges a great relationship with Asuna, and he tries to help people when he can. But when Kirito fails to help someone, right, with the Midnight Black Cats, and he like can't save them, he gets depressed about it. Shu watches like 8 people die and is just like, I told you the world was a good place at the end. It's like, holy fuck, dude. He Shu never thinks about his family. He never thinks about his crush that he left behind. He's just like, yeah, I came here to save Lalaurie, and I guess I'm gonna do that. And then he just like goes around and like does that, and he's just like, yeah, the world's a great place, isn't it? And then it's like, meanwhile, all around him, people are dying, being raped, starving to death. There's no water on the fucking planet, you know? It's just like the Subaru, I think, is a great example for this too. Because he is someone who comes in with a very similar mindset to Shu. I'm gonna help. I'm great. The world is wonderful. I'm gonna rock this. And then he gets stabbed like 20 seconds in. And then 40 seconds in, he gets stabbed to death again. And then, like, 2 weeks later, a cute blue-haired maid beats the shit out of him with a flail and he dies. And he, like, becomes traumatized because the world around him is actually fucking awful in a lot of ways. And he needs to learn to accept that awfulness and like make the best of it and like find the good where you need to, the way that life is. Where Shu is sort of just telling people like, if you believe hard enough, life will be great, while everyone around him is trying to make the world a better place very actively and sacrificing themselves for the cause. It's just, I don't know, it's a lot to deal with. That's my thought on that, Happy.
But how do you really feel about it, though?
I don't know.
I would like to bring something up.
Yeah, okay.
It is very, very, very parallel to someone who is trying to, like, someone who has a lot of people around them that is, like, actively trying to stop police brutality or actively trying to stop political what's it called?
Racism?
Discourse.
Political discourse, actively trying to make sure that the political system isn't rigged in a certain way, and actually putting through money and time and energy and sometimes blood and sweat and bones to like get these things that they feel very strongly about through, and then having one of their friends being like, yeah, I'm with them. Isn't the world a great place? That's exactly what Shu is to everyone else. Because, like, he's just that leech that's like, my friends do this, so automatically I am included in
He
this.
puts himself in danger's way literally every effing
He's
episode.
never
He
punished
does
for it.
nothing,
He
though.
is tortured, starved, beaten, and
I'd say
he's
that's his
fine.
own fault. He got himself in that
Yeah,
situation. He deserves
Well,
it.
no,
And
No,
he's
but-
not raped.
If you get
supposed to, he does.
if
He
you-
puts himself there because he's
okay,
helping people.
okay,
Like,
okay,
who does he actively help?
he tries to help Sarah.
That's not what I
helps
said.
Lala
He
Ru
does,
and-
not what I
does nothing for Sarah.
No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't. Sarah was the worst. Sarah
What?
was.
Oh.
No,
No, let me rephrase that. I'm not saying Sarah was the worst as a character. I'm saying the way he treated Sarah was the worst.
Yeah, no,
Yeah, it was really
awful.
bad.
There you go.
An actual shoe could have treated her
But
better.
also, he's like 12, and how I would have responded in that situation probably would have been also awful because I'm 12. So I'm not gonna like.
He was supposed to be like wise beyond his year. I don't know. I just like my issue.
He seemed really dumb for his years, to be honest.
He
Because
was really
he
dumb.
solved every answer by
He
going,
definitely
he went,
failed
"Met!"
elementary school.
Met. That's how he solved all of his problems, was hitting stuff with a stick.
Just
God.
like my dad.
I just
shit.
I don't know. I couldn't deal with him. I mean, like
I'm joking.
he's trying to do the right thing. He's trying to help people. It's just not practical in the situation, and he never learns that. He never learns it's not practical. And at the end, he was like, "My way worked." No, it didn't.
Yeah.
Lala drowned everyone to death
Yeah.
using fucking witch
He
magic.
convinced her to do that, but yeah,
He didn't
okay.
convince her to kill King Hamdo.
Yeah, he showed her that there is a. She
Non-violent
had no desire to save anybody. She didn't care about a single person, whether that was King Hamdo or any child soldier or any other person, Sarah even, the person whose life was ruined because of her existence. She felt no sympathy. She felt nothing for them at all. Shu was able to convince her through his actions and through his determination, whatever, and through his personality that there are people worth saving. There is a life worth
Yeah.
sacrificing myself for, which is what Lala Ru does in the end. She
Yeah.
kills the guy.
She
and
chose
that's-
poorly.
Hey, I don't
Yeah,
think
that
it was
makes her
just
a
shoot.
fool.
Yeah,
Don't think it was just. Sorry,
No, go Happy.
I don't think it was just Shu though. I think it was also her time in like Zaya Bars or whatever that village was.
Yes. Well, that's my point. Like, she saw, like, oh, there are still good people in this world that are worth saving, and she wouldn't have done that without Shu's guidance. She would have been kept as a prisoner inside of Hollywood until she died, or, well, I guess she, as the quote from the show goes,
Okay.
10 billion years worth of time, whatever, something she exists for, I guess. I don't know.
Pat,
Yes.
personally, I think that okay, so this is gonna be a little bit. I am sobering up, by the way. This is gonna be a little bit odd for me to say, but I hope you can follow me here. So I feel that if Shu was not the person that was trying to get her to understand how to have sympathy and empathy, Lalaru would have been able to understand sympathy and empathy much quicker. Like if it was Sis, or if it was what's her face, the one that got
Sarah.
Sarah?
Sarah. Yeah, if it was either Sis or Sarah, she would have been able to understand, or even Boo. Sis, Sarah, or Boo. If it was either one of them, she would have been able to understand human empathy and sympathy much quicker. She would have been able to stop a lot of this from happening much quicker, but because it was Shu, she was not able to understand it because he doesn't even understand it. He's 12. Also, he's just a like smiley, happy face. Oh, the world is dying around me. The world is a great place type of person.
I actually
Like,
strongly
that is-
disagree with that take. I actually think
I
because
was gonna say, I do.
I think actually because of Shu, because it seems like Lalaru was like essentially like once they found out who she is as a person, she has the ability to create water, and then in return she gets like weakened, and you see an instance she dies. It seems like her whole life that she's kind of like in some form of like captivity, and I think because of Shu, like his wackiness and his adventure and stuff like that, really opened up Lalaru to like the world. I guess I'll put it that way. Like she wouldn't have gotten the experiences needed to become who she was if it wasn't for Shu. That's just my opinion.
She's been numb. She became numb to the rest of the world, right? And all the other people, because, like she said in one of the episodes, while they were walking through the desert, she's like, "People don't look at me as a person; they look at me as a resource. They look at me
Yes.
as a material or something
An
that they
item,
can
yeah.
gain, an item that something that they can gain benefit from or can use." Like she's like, "You're the first person to look at me like a person," and
We
like
meet
as
someone else who does it 20 seconds later.
in who
Exactly.
Sis.
Sarah insist.
Yeah, but it's like if it
Exactly.
wasn't for Shu, he wouldn't have met
If it wasn't for
Sis.
Shu, he wouldn't.
It's
have
kind of
met
like the
Sis.
point I'm making. Like he's the glue that, or he's like the reason why these events occur. If it wasn't
And
for
also,
him,
do
then
you-
I'm not saying he's a good character. I'm just saying that he's the reason why like these events happen for.
Sure, as the
Lalaru.
show was written, it's not.
Yeah.
But that's not because of how he is. It's because he carried her there via the show.
Yeah, but like, would Sarah
Yeah.
do that with
Oh.
Lalaru? I can't see that.
Sarah
Well,
was.
no,
So-
Sarah will probably try to
I
kill
was
her.
too traumatized.
Yeah, I
to
know
do any of that.
exactly. That's why I'm saying Shu has
That's
to
the
be the
point.
person. Yeah,
So
Yeah, but
here's
no one
my-
like
here's-
Shu exists. That's the like.
I
Shu
know!
is impossible, ideal, and should not be glorified like that because if you get tortured a whole bunch, you're allowed to be bummed. I'm saying it. I'm going to be the authority on this. If you get tortured a bunch,
I agree.
it's okay to be a downer.
So here's my thing. So, all right. So let's say that instead of just being a narrative, let's say that this is real life. Let's say that, well, not real life, but let's say that this is happening in real time. So there's not just a like plot outline for this to happen. Let's say that these guys are actually being human beings. Let's say that we have Lalaru, who is literally being very, very fucking depressed and all that. Let's say she does not meet Shu. Let's say she meets Sis. Let's say Sis changes her mind. Let's say that Sis creates a butterfly effect that changes the story dramatically and allows Lalaru to have and be able to open herself up and understand how and why these people should have sympathy and empathy and why these people should be able to live and why they need to take out whoever, like the Hamdo. Why they need to
Yeah.
take out Hamdo.
Kat, I
Like,
see what you're
that-
saying, but I think it's irrelevant to the story,
But
essentially.
here's
Because
I'm
like
showing-
Sis is that type of character to do that, but Sis isn't the type of character to like run the story. Like that's what Shu's purpose was.
Yeah, but Shu's purpose was to run the story. I get that. But like Shu did it in a way that ran the story off the rails. Like it was like it added a sense of chaos into the story, which is literally something that should not be added.
I think what, at least this is what I'm getting from it, is that you just like wish Shu wasn't the main character, essentially. And that like
Exactly.
yeah,
I wish
but
Nabucco was the main character. He was actually.
I guess
really
like
good.
what I'm trying to get to is that he is the main character. This is the story that is presented, and I'm not rewriting the story. And like that's like the reason why Shu is the reason for like I guess like Lalaru in her development. And could I rewrite the story better? I think so, but like I guess
I think I could too, honestly.
Yeah, I don't know. I think we should just be allowed to rewrite the fight. Like, if there is just like a very easy route to take that makes the story better, and that is just deleting Shu from the face of the fucking planet, that's a knock on the show.
yeah,
that would
absolutely.
make the show better, honestly.
You know,
yeah.
I mean,
Exactly.
you could take someone like Nabucca, right? Who
There we
Has
go.
been
There we go.
jaded by the world, who's just trying to get home and sees what him trying to like go home is doing to someone else in Lalaru, and starts treating her like a human despite what the world's done to him. And then Lalaru learns that even though the world affects people in a negative way and makes people do bad things sometimes, that at the core of the people there are humanity. There's humanity. They form a friendship. Nabucco decides to like go rogue or whatever, and like then you have some sort of lesson there. Like I hate the core message which is like be this untainted paragon in the face of absolute and utter despair. I don't think it's a realistic thing to do. I don't think it's worth talking about because it's not human. Shu isn't human. Nabuka is human.
Oh,
Lala Ru is human.
Shu is Neo from the Matrix.
No, because
No,
Neo
Neo
gets
has
sad
personality.
sometimes.
It was a joke.
Okay.
That was a bad one.
It was no, because he never gets hit by anything. He's perfectly fine. He's Neo from the Matrix. I stand by that.
Does Shu get shot? I think he gets shot.
You got shot in the
He gets
leg,
grazed,
like-
doesn't he? I don't think he gets like
Like,
injured though, because at the end he's like standing tall and he teleports away. He's like, bloop, 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 bloop. He's out.
yeah.
He's-
Okay. Sorry. The teleporting reminded me of something. They live on a fuck planet where like all civilization has been destroyed. They have a teleporter that can send people to other planets, or universes or whatever. Sarah is from Earth. Presumably, she has some sort of support structure on Earth. Why did she not bring her and her unborn child and a couple of the orphans to Earth? A
think
place
it-
with just so many resources.
water.
I think it was implied that because of Lala Ru's sacrifice, they had a place to live, and also she wanted to take care of all of the orphans that were there.
Yeah. She wanted
and
to be
also
sis.
she wanted to help replace Sis for the kids, and also after what she has gone through, I don't know if after that would I even be able to face my parents and tell them like what happened, like would they believe me?
I hope so.
Well, would you?
They're
want
your
to,
parents.
is what you would-
Yes. I would love to see
Yeah,
my
I
parents.
don't think I would want anything more than to like hug my mom. And
Oh,
cry.
I got
Well,
raped.
some
Never
people
want to see
don't.
my parents again.
What? Like,
That's not what I
why
said.
would you
but okay.
not want to meet your parent? Are you if you're
And, like,
scared?
She was
that your
forced
par-
to grow up
No.
and forced
I'm
to
sorry.
become a.
The world has
if you're
actual
scared of your
infrastructure.
parents because you got raped, what family are you living in?
That's not what I said.
I think he
at
means
all.
like you've been teleported. More about the otherworldliness of it. You got teleported to this other world. Are you going to tell your parents you got teleported to fucking Mad Max for?
Okay. From that point,
It's not even that too though, but like she literally went from being like what, like let's say she was like 14, 15, 16 living a normal life to this for I don't know how long the amount of time is that she's there, but it has to be a couple months at least, right? Because of she saw the signs of pregnancy, whatever. I don't know. Like, does she want to? How can she go back to living her old life?
That's not what she has to do. She should go to a planet that has a massive infrastructure to take care of things like this, and then the place that all of these people lived wasn't just flooded. That's what she should do.
Okay. I'm just
She
saying.
should
I
take
think-
the
I think
teleporter
you
to
guys
Earth.
It's supposed to be symbolic, but symbolic decisions are stupid when they're dumb, right?
I don't
like-
think it's that dumb. I think she made a completely
I
fair.
think honestly, they're all going to starve to death. She just like killed all 6 of the children. If she'd gone to Earth, they would have all lived, but they're dead now.
I don't
Sarah's
think they're
dead.
starved to death. They have water and they have whatever.
They don't have any towns.
The-
They have
the
nothing.
spaceship blew
The
up.
spaceship didn't. No, the spaceship crash landed. It didn't like entirely like blow up.
I'm
That's-
certain probably
There's a
like,
CVS a mile down from the street for me.
there's probably like maybe 20% of the ship that's still like salvageable for anything.
No, they teleported him back in the middle of the ship. Like it's not like it got completely destroyed. It literally just crash landed and got flooded when Lalaru did.
That
Uh,
sounds like a lot.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
think
I
I
think
think
I
the
would
ship is
assume
fucked.
that if there is nothing there for her and there is no way for her to survive or for the civilization and the people to survive, I don't think she would just choose to stay and condemn her life to that. I think the idea was she had a way, and also the town that Sis lived in probably still exists. It got
no, it was
ransacked.
it got
No, it
flooded
got literally blown up.
and then flooded because
It got-
it was in a
the-
basin.
It got blown up. The kid told us they
river used
planted
to
bombs
exist.
after they raided.
No, I'm not
Yeah.
talking about that. That was after the original.
No, they bombed
city.
every single village they raided.
Yeah.
One they were still above though when they raided.
No,
it.
they
That's-
left.
Are
No,
you
the
sure?
kid, no,
I don't
no,
think
the
they
kid.
did.
So like the kid with like the Goku haircut says that like he saw the soldiers placing bombs at the village after they left.
Yeah,
And that was
so
when
there's
Nabucco-
nothing, literally nothing to go back home to because they're like fighting
Yeah,
to
that was
go
what
home
Nabucco-
or whatever.
That was he was talking to Nabucco about.
Yeah,
I
there's no-
understand that, I'm saying the very last village. What was it called?
Something
The
bars.
one that Sis is from.
Yeah.
That got
Zanzibar is
blown
whatever.
up.
I don't think it did
It
because
did.
they were right above it with the ship, and then the ship crash landed because
No, they already traveled quite far.
I'm almost certain the city is blown
I
up.
am almost
Yeah, I was-
100% sure Zanzibar's or whatever, it's gone.
Yeah.
It's turned into a nuclear test site.
Zaya bars or something.
Yeah, it's gone.
Can I-
so.
Yeah.
Can I say something real quick?
Yeah,
Yeah.
of course.
So, okay. So we talking about Shu, and I think I know what Shu is. He is a worse version of Madoka Kaname.
Yes.
Where like Madoka is also like a very like a very moral person, but she doesn't pretend like everything's fine, and even tries to make it better, even if that's just saying like, hey, don't go do this because you're gonna end up hurting yourself, right? Shu, meanwhile, is like so hard-headed and so set in his ways that what he does oftentimes makes things worse. And I mean, that happens with Madoka too, I suppose. But within her, it's merely her making honest mistakes.
Monica at the end sacrifices herself, though, right? Like, she embodies her own ideals and makes them
Thanks
happen.
for telling me that.
And well, it's not how you think it happens. So, you know, I don't know. I guess I won't get too into it so that I don't spoil Johnny.
Yeah, that's
but
a good idea.
So
but you know, Johnny, it's been 10 years. Watch Madoka Magica.
I will watch it eventually.
so I would like to bring something up.
Yes.
in that
We
case,
are
'cause
running
I
low
just-
on time, so make
Are
it
we?
quick. Yes.
So in that case, does it seem like Madoka from Madoka Magica?
I don't think we should talk
Is-
about Madoka. I think we should talk about the show.
Okay.
I agree. We should not be going too
Well,
off topic into
I was-
spoilery things.
You can check out our
Comparing-
Madoka review of Watch Club when we did Madoka Magica if you want to hear our Madoka talk.
Yep,
Sick
a
plug.
moderator stepping in. We're cutting that off. Good. That was a sick plug. We're going straight into now. I think. Do we want to do like best character? Because I don't think best boy and girl really works. There's like
Yeah, let's do
girl-
like best character, worst character, maybe?
Yeah, we can do that.
Sure.
Sure. Miles, why don't you start us off?
Or well, okay, my worst character is Shu. I hate Shu. I don't necessarily think like I don't know. I just think he was like accidentally, and maybe the way that dumb kids were, empathetic. And my main issue with him is the show presenting him in like a positive light all the time and reflecting his ideals and presenting them as an attainable thing. Goodbye, Cat.
He will be back.
My favorite character. Ooh, there's actually like a few characters I liked in the show. I know some people didn't like everyone. I liked Nabucco a lot. I thought Sis and Sarah were great. I'm gonna go ahead and say Sarah. I think I do think it's dumb that she stayed there, but I understand narratively why that decision was made. It's like a turning over a new leaf, accepting her role and all of that, and that was nice. And she was someone who made it through her trauma in like a very, like, I don't know, inspiring sort of way, managed to overcome like quite a few issues that she was presented with. And you know, she didn't, I forgot about the scene where she got, never mind. It's not Sarah. She's really dumb. She makes so many dumb decisions. When she leaves all the gear after she escapes Hollywood.
She doesn't want to be identified as a Hollywood person, so she takes off the soldier uniform so that she doesn't get killed when she approaches a
when she leaves the
village,
knife and
you know?
everything and goes into the desert in her
Yeah.
underwear. Yeah, that. Let's not pretend that had any rhyme or reason to it, okay? That
I
was
think it did. I think what I just said had the rhyme or reason. Does it make sense, or is it a good thing? No, but that's what the rhyme or reason was.
I think it was to show her symbolism of breaking free or something. I don't think it was like a logical decision. I think it was like a narrative decision to have her do that. I really don't think she was worried about being identified as anything, because you could just be like, hey, I'm not one, I escaped, that worked for someone else. You know, and then you don't die of heat stroke. Like she almost did. So, you know, but I'm gonna give it Sis. I like Sis. Sis is a real one. she embodied a lot of Shu's ideals, but was also willing to get her hands dirty when necessary. And she took care of all the kids, which was great and wonderful. Sis, best character.
Okay, fair enough. Kat, what have you got?
All right. So, me, I would have to say that I'm going to actually start with best character and worst character, then worst character. So, my best character would also be Sis. I really like Sis. Sis was one of my favorite characters in this show. Not saying much because a lot of the characters in this show I really did dislike. But uh, but this was kind of like this was kind of a plus. But later in but as the show went on, I have to say that my least favorite character is Shu. It's not even a fucking question. Like Shu is terrible as a character. He is. This show is, and here's my issue. So this show is meant to embody the horror of war. This show is meant to embody the atrocities that happen when war is in a place, in an area. It is meant to show how bad things can get. Show the worst side of humanity. And she was there like, I like he is not there to do he is not there to play into the narrative. He is a he is a wild card in all the worst ways. And personally, I don't like that. And I'm sure I'm pretty much rephrasing what Miles said earlier, but like that's exactly how I feel about Shu. Shu is a wild card in all the worst ways. And I can't deal with him. Like he's just like at episode 13 where he like gets mad and grabs the gun and then shoots at Nabika's feet. Like at that point, I was hoping that he would be able to that he would finally drop an act. Like he would finally drop the act of trying to act like happy and just actually be angry for once. Actually have an extra emotion other than just happy optimism. And then he doesn't. And then I'm just like, oh, well, it's exactly what I thought it was going to happen. Anyway, I'm just going to go back to watching this very boredly. But yeah, that's why Shu is my least favorite character.
Fair enough. All right. Happy, what do you think?
Yeah, so I'm actually just going to go real quick because I don't have too many thoughts. So my best character would be Nabuka, and my worst character is King Hamdo.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah, so first mention to Hamdo. That's fun. Seems like we all like Nabika. I liked him a lot too. Johnny, what have you got?
All right, so to absolutely no one's surprise, my worst character is Shu. It's not even close. He's like I said, he literally just doesn't fit into the story. His like ideals are stupid. He thinks he's doing something when he really just doesn't, and it pisses me off because the show expects me to like think that what he's doing is smart and the correct thing to do, which is not. The show's an insult to my intelligence, and I fucking hate him. But best character is Sis because unlike Shu, she has these ideals, but then guess what? She actually does something with them. She actually takes care of people. She actually like tries to avoid conflict, but she's not scared to get her hands dirty. She knows what needs to be done. She's an actual human being, unlike Shu, who's an actual Shu. That's what I got.
A shoe. I like that. That's funny. All right.
He's like the Nike "Just Do It."
Just
That's
do
all
it. Yeah,
that's all he is. That's all he is.
He's just do it. Pete, give us your best and worst.
Worst character goes to, I'm gonna name him Villager number 2. After the doctor is shot, he's like, "Oh my god, you just shot and killed this dude. I'm gonna run at you," and then he gets shot. That guy was just dumb. That's a joke. My worst character is Shu. I didn't really enjoy him. I think he did serve. He was there for a reason. I just don't like his style of character. I guess I'll put it that way. I don't think he was god awful like everyone else shines the light on him. I just thought he was just like a bad character in like a average show, so it's like it's whatever. And my best character is Sarah. I really enjoyed episode 11 with like her struggles of like finding out that, or like going through the struggle of like she's pregnant, she doesn't want to be here anymore, she just wants to die. I thought that scene was pretty good, I'll put it that way, and I really like shined the light on her character. It showed like the realness and like the situation that was going on. It wasn't, I like when they like break out of like the anime aspect and add like this real touch to it. And I thought Sarah did a really good job, so Sarah's my best character.
All right. And yeah, then lastly, I'll go. I will agree with pretty much everyone else here that Sarah is probably the best character for me as well. I'll talk a little more about it in my closing thoughts, but I think she had the most character development, and she also had the best scenes in the show. Pretty much all of the good scenes in the show involved her in some way. No, that's Miles actually.
Shit.
Yeah, but then a close second for me is Hamdo. I loved Hamdo. I don't know, we didn't talk about him too much specifically, at least. I'll talk more about him again in my closing thoughts, but I enjoyed the hell out of that character. I thought it was so fun, especially in the dub. The voice actor did a fantastic job. I also did like Nabucco a lot as well, though. And then yeah, I guess worst character. I mean, I guess it's Shu. I don't know. I agree with a lot of the things you said in theory or in practice. In like, yeah, you should never feel that way about your life. You should always feel like there's positivity and that there is a possibility for growth, or that there is a future ahead of you that's brighter than the one you're in right now. But obviously, the way he goes about it, and the fact that he is not first empathetic to Sarah, or like, understanding of someone who has a slightly different viewpoint than him, that's where he loses me. And I think that he could have been done significantly better, even though he does fulfill his purpose. I think he exists to be that shining beacon of light that is just too bright and unfiltered, which is why he comes off as so grating and dumb to a lot of people, I think.
No, I agree with that. I think, like, I understand what his purpose is, and it just, I think it grates me the wrong way. Maybe that's because I'm older and cynical now, but
Yeah,
it is.
You
Ooh.
are very true.
I'm a zoomer and cynical, so
There you go.
I would like to mention something. I just thought about it. It just clicked in my drunken head. Shu is a sociopath.
Yeah.
That's
Like,
aggressive. I think
okay,
he's just 12.
No. So the reason why I say Shu is a sociopath is because when you look at the signs of a sociopath, they don't have any empathy, nor do they have any sympathy, but they do have the ability to understand human emotion. They do understand that this is how a person is acting. This is how they feel, and then they can utilize that at their advantage.
I think he's inherently not like I.
Yeah, I don't
agree.
think he's at
He-
all. Like,
like 'cause
That's a bit of a
he's
stretch.
like
Yeah.
overly selfless, kind of.
he wouldn't
like,
do all of that for Lalaru if he was. He literally like risked his life multiple times for somebody he just met, which is like the exact opposite of a sociopath.
I do
Also,
understand
okay,
what you're
fair
trying
enough.
to saying and the ability that like he lacks empathy, but I think it's more like he's awful at empathy. Like he's just really bad at it.
It's just dense. He doesn't
Yeah,
understand.
yeah. Like
Yeah.
he goes like, okay, this person is feeling bad. What do I do about that? Life's great. You can make it through,
Life
and
will
like,
be better.
yeah,
is what-
and it's
yeah,
like, oh, the sun will come out tomorrow, and he's like,
it's always
singing
darkest
Annie.
before the dawn.
Yeah, and like, they're like, I don't think he's a sociopath, but I do understand what you're trying to say there with the lacking of empathy, because I do think that's an issue he has. But like, when you're a sociopath, you're often out there only to like use other people for your own betterment, and I don't think Chu was like that, because he kept on running it like trained soldiers with sticks. And if you really cared about yourself, you wouldn't do that.
You would use people as like
Fair
body
enough.
bags and like take the bullets for you, which he kind of does.
You'd be the guy from Classroom of the Elite or whatever.
You'd be
You'd the guy-
Hamdo.
Yeah. Or
Exactly.
Hamdo.
Hamdo's
Yeah,
a
Yeah,
Hando is a
Love
psychopath.
that
He's not a
character.
sociopath.
Yeah, he is fun.
He's both probably. He's a fucking great character. Oh my god. All right. Final thoughts. Miles, please kick us off with your final thoughts and score for Now and Then, Here and There.
Yeah, so Now and Then, Here and There is bad. There is some kind of fun things about it. I honestly think if you took it and you modernized it, like you gave it actual production value and you know, it learned something from the last 20 years of like, I don't know, storytelling or whatever in anime, you would have a pretty good show. I think if you shortened it, like Pete said, and you had a movie, it'd be pretty good. However, I just have too many issues with it. I have issues with, I guess, the way that it presents its message, and the production value of the show is like strikingly bad. I understand that the show is a 90s show and it had probably a very little budget, but I'm here in 2021 and, you know, I've watched shows like Violet Evergarden.
I've watched almost 100 anime.
I've almost, Miles March to
Yes.
100 continues. This is show 92.
Yes. We're
so
almost there.
we're getting there. So I'm gonna give it a 4. But the 4 points it does have is because it does kind of have a fun little spirit about it. But I do ultimately think the show is bad, and Mal calls for bad.
Fair enough. All right, Kat, what have you got for a final score? And let's make sure we all keep ourselves on pace here. Let's go 2 minutes or less.
Oh, right. So, me personally, I've said a lot of things in the past hour and a half to 2 hours. I have done. I. This show was boring to me. This show, of course, there were a lot of things that were annoying. There were a lot of things that I hated. There were a lot of things that I just couldn't deal with. But my biggest gripe about the show is that it was boring. Like, I didn't get invested into any of the characters except for maybe Sis, which is why she's my best character. But the main thing, like, I just couldn't deal with it. And I have to say that this show made me really, really dislike 90s anime. It also made me DM a bunch of old head anime fans that I have that are actually related to me, that I said, hey, old anime sucks. And then leave them on red when they message
What's your
back.
rating?
My rating is a 3 out of 10. It's very bad on Mal.
Okay, 3 out of 10 for Now and Then, Here and There for Kat. Happy, what have you got for a score?
I think I'll just do a 5 out of 10. I enjoyed watching it, but it ain't great, so yeah.
I think that's a very fair score for what you've said about it so far too. I think that makes sense for you.
That's honestly 1 point away from being masterfully crafted. So
Yeah.
Pretty close.
Oh,
No, 2, isn't it? I thought it was 7.
is it 7? I don't know. I've
7.
lost track of the. I need to stop doing that. I know Happy doesn't like when I do that. I just still love it. I'm sorry. I'm really not making fun of you, Happy. It's just my favorite quote of all time.
It is a great quote. You guys should go find it in the Violet Evergarden episode. Was it? Or
No,
yeah,
was it? No, it was something I did. Mononoke.
that might have been what it was. I don't remember. Either way, where that's for Here and There, whatever. Johnny, that's my second joke of the day of that nature. Johnny, what have you got for your conclusion and
All
your
right, so
closing thoughts?
Now and Then, Here and There. This show is not good. But like there's a lot of things that aren't good, but I'm willing to forgive them for it. Like it's an old show. It had the budget of a 7-year-old's pocket money. Like I'm sure they did the best with what they were given. But it's so like I'm willing to forgive the stuff like having a 30-second OP that's a slideshow, having no sound budget, animation budget, arguably voice actor budget because I fucking hated some of the voice actors. But like all that stuff is excusable. It's for the time. The plot is not excusable. It's a fucking dumpster fire. This main character makes me want to punch a child right now.
Nice.
This show is getting a 4 out of 10. And honestly, like, okay, to be honest, like the only reason it's getting a 4 is because there were some scenes that I actually paid attention to. Like, this wasn't the boringest anime. I've seen worse. Like, it's not the worst anime I've ever seen. So that's what I got for it. But my god, do I fucking hate the plot.
Okay, yeah, that's fair. If you don't like it, you don't like it. Man, this is hurting me. I thought it'd be a little higher than what we're going for, but that's fine. Pete, what have you got?
Yeah, I guess for final thoughts, I wish we got to talk about it, and it reminded me a lot of Gurren Lagann with like Lala LaRue and her like symbolism with like whether she was like part of the environment or like what she actually stood for. Reminded me a lot of Gurren Lagann and like what Nia stood for and that whole civilization. I think you should just watch Gurren Lagann instead of this show. Now that I think about it,
Yeah,
which is a
is
a masterpiece in the type of style it showed. But I did think that the show did stuff pretty well. I thought the pacing for the most part was pretty good. It didn't feel sluggish for like 10 of the episodes. A few of the episodes were kind of pretty poorly paced, but for the most time I felt like I was sitting there and I was semi enjoying what I was watching. Production value, if you're looking at this from a technical standpoint, it missed a lot. The sound, the animations. I thought the voice acting was fine. I didn't really care. I didn't think it was that bad at all. I just think that I don't really see a reason to go back and like actually watch this show. I don't think it really serves a significant purpose in like the lore. This isn't like Neon Genesis for mecha and stuff like that. I thought that this was kind of like how it was relayed for like isekai. I didn't really get that. I don't see like the significance of it, but yeah, I think the show was just average. It was fine. I'm gonna give it a 5. It was fine.
Hey, Pete gives the show a 5. Okay, so yeah, my closing thoughts. Again, so this is me now coming in as probably the person who liked it the most. Just a couple of the notes that we didn't get to talk about. That was a great point to bring up about Gurren Lagann. I would also agree that you should just watch Gurren Lagann instead of this, even as someone who enjoyed the show a little bit more. Just a couple things I wrote down. We wish we talked more about King Hamdo because he's cruel, but he's actually really talented at manipulating people and getting the girl, what's her name, Abelia, Lady Abelia, to do what he wants. He talks like, one quote that stuck out to me. I hate flowers. They're beautiful, but they serve no purpose whatsoever. And that's like while he's caressing Abelia's face, So he's like implying to her that he can get rid of her, or he's threatening her without actually threatening her. And I thought that was really well done. I don't know. Again, maybe that in the dub or in the sub it was a different quote, but I thought it was really, really well done in general too. How he interacted with Lady Abelia, and also how she, even though she was frustrated by him, she still stood by his side because she's like the loyal soldier. She's in debt to him somehow. Again, we don't explore it, but it's kind of just implied that she is going to be loyal to him till his death. The scene where Sarah does get raped is actually really well done as well. I think it was one of the better scenes in the show. Similar to Perfect Blue, where it is not sexualized in almost any way, unlike a lot of different anime that have had sexual assault or any other sort of scenario like that depicted. This show depicts it almost without showing Sarah actually in the scene. Like but it is still very clear what happens and what is going to happen, and then it shows her just an empty shell of a human after it happens as well. I think that was super, super well done, and just as like it was horrifying. I was sitting there, I was like, God damn! Like I felt for her. Other than that, I did note though. I'm glad we did talk about this. I even wrote my notes. I was like, this feels like an old show with all the dead air that there just was in the show. There was so much dead air. It was horribly produced. It had a 2.5 minute ending theme, by the way, as well. So we talked about how awful the opening is. The ED was 2.5 minutes long, which is a very long ED that I skipped every single time. I don't know. We talked about being bored by it, and I think there were certain moments that definitely could have been condensed, and I do agree it would have been better condensed. However, I was able to binge the show pretty easily. I did not struggle to watch it somehow. Um, I don't know. I found it pretty entertaining throughout, even with all of again the countless flaws in the plot, in Shu and his character, and just in general. The way that the show narratively speaks. I do agree that it is horribly flawed. But however, I still think it's not the worst thing I've ever seen, and I have definitely given or seen worse things or wasted my time with less entertaining things before. I think this is a 7 out of 10. So that wraps up my closing thoughts. So that averages us out to a score of 28 between 6 people. Divide that by the 60, and we get an average score of a 4.67 for Now and Then, Here and There. That's sad. It's not the lowest score we've ever had, but it's down there.
4.67 is underneath. It is 0.01 ahead of Handshakers and 0.9 below Non-Baka.
Wow.
There we go.
Congratulations, Cat. God fucking damn.
Also, it's below Pet.
It is also below Pet, yes.
I can't believe that, but
Well,
whatever.
Pet was better.
Pet was
Okay.
better.
I think I gave Pet a 4 too. I don't think Pet necessarily was better.
Yeah. Either way, all right. That wraps up our discussion of the again cult classic. Now and Then, Here and There. Man, that felt short because that almost felt like 10 billion years because time is so fragile,
So ephemeral.
Nice callback.
ephemeral. It arouses such a bittersweet, almost heartbreaking fondness, and that is me ending our discussion on this show.
Pat, stop. Please stop. Please
What,
just
you
stop.
didn't like that quote at the beginning of the show that didn't really fit with the themes and the messages and the narrative of the show? Really? You didn't like that? I'm sorry.
I guess it fits here and there.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly. Now and then it'll fit.
Okay.
All right.
Stop.
Moving on, we're going to be talking about the shows that we nominated from the last week. So, Miles, that's your job. What did we vote for out of the 4 shows we had?
Yes, we had 4 shows that we could have voted for. Those 4 shows were as followed. That's the wrong thing. This is the right thing. 91 Days, Death Parade, Odd Taxi, and Elfen Lied. In third place, we had Death Parade. Second place, we had 91 Days. And in first place, we had Odd Taxi. So, 91 Days earns its second legacy point, and Death Parade earns its first. So, Odd Taxi won as its first nomination week after Pete did a great job pitching it. And also, the anime world is sort of abuzz with its ever-increasing mouse score. So, I'm excited to do the show because it's got like an 8.8 something.
Yeah, it's the third best show from the last season at the most.
That's pretty accurate. Yeah, I think it's pretty accurate.
If not lower, maybe, depending on, I don't know, other shows that I will finish.
It's the highest rated of the last season, though, right?
It's really
Yeah,
Vivi was super high.
It's super niche, and also Fruits Basket, so no, it's not the highest.
So it's probably the third highest or second highest.
I think it's also a lot. It has probably maybe not half the number of reviews as those, but I feel like it's definitely a more niche show that's more like less watched.
It's got 53,000 users, which isn't terrible for a seasonal.
I think
I'm not saying
it's a cult
bad.
classic.
Okay.
I'm not saying that that's bad. I'm saying like versus then if we looked at Fruits Basket, it would have like 400,000 or something like that, right? Where it's like it has 8 times the reviews, or because it has so few reviews,
85
get bumps.
thousand
for Fruits Basket. So yeah, so double for Fruits. There you go. I'm not.
Pat's a hater. Pat's already an Odd Taxi hater.
I'm already a hater.
It's already determined.
This got pitched to me, and I was just like, "Why?"
It's so good.
Whodunits are so fun. You get to figure out who did it.
Sure. Okay.
Mystery is the best genre.
It's literally its only genre is mystery. It's just mystery.
I'm
Nothing
so
else.
excited.
Alrighty, so now we are going to nominate shows for our episode. We will be watching Odd Taxi on the 9th of August. My lord, we are moving quickly through this year. But we are nominating now for our episode on August the 23rd, which is again, of course, 4 weeks from now. So yeah, what are our nominations? Miles, are you ready with yours?
Sure. I went to see my family in North Carolina, and I got bullied a lot because I was like, "Oh, I do an anime podcast," and my cousin, who's seen like 5 anime, was like, "Oh, have you seen this show?" And I was like, "No," and then he just like verbally assaulted me, and then got people to text me to bully me that I hadn't seen it, and then he told me that I should nominate it, so I'm going to, and that show is Afro Samurai
Ooh.
for whatever reason. So we're
Hey!
nominating Afro
Oh
Samurai.
God,
Alrighty.
Afro Samurai. Okay, that's exciting.
I think we're
actually.
required to watch the dub because I think Samuel L. Jackson is the voice actor.
That is correct.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, that might be the only time I'm actually preferring a dub.
There we go. All right, Kat, what have you got for us to nominate?
So I was trying to rally Miles to vote for a Ghibli movie called The Cat Returns that neither of us have seen, and we wanted that to be our first Ghibli movie. But for the time being, until we get to that, I am going to re-up 91 Days because 91 Days came in second this week. I want it to come in first so that we can talk about it. It will probably not win because I know that I'm voting for Afro Samurai first. Because damn straight. But I'm re-upping 91 Days. Hopefully, it gets another legacy point or it wins, and if it wins, hopefully Afro Samurai gets the legacy point. Y'all vote however you want, and if you guys are watching this on YouTube, please vote. Please get one of these shows a legacy point or to win. But yeah, that's my nomination. Moving on.
Alrighty, Happy. Well, once again, welcome back. What are you nominating this week?
Yeah. So I'm gonna keep this quick because I have to go make my bed. Long story.
You have to go
But-
make your bed.
Yes,
Well,
I do.
he's got a bed to sleep in, bro. He's got to get it.
Sick
it's a
brag,
thing, like-
bro.
I know. Imagine having a bed. Couldn't be me.
So yeah, just Pete, when this is over, just kick me out of the call because I'll be leaving shortly after. But I'm gonna recommend the Razafon movie. Can't do the series because it's 26 episodes, but we can certainly do the movie.
How do I spell...
No, I'm not leaving the Discord. Don't worry. Saying Pete can kick me out.
Okay, Razafon.
The movie specifically, not the series because the series is too long.
Yes,
Alright.
how spell Razufam?
I was just say, just type it out in the Anime Club chat. And
Yep.
we will take care of it. Perfect. Alrighty, Johnny, what have you got for your nomination?
Alright, so my nomination for this, I was going to re-up the show that got second place 4 times. But I figured we get sick of it, so I'm gonna nominate a show that I'm sure Pete's gonna be excited about the show because he said he wanted people to start talking about it. So I want to nominate 86.
Oh my
Oh,
god!
let's go.
Oh, Johnny!
That's
Yo,
what I'm gonna be nominating.
Wait,
Make
I need
my
to say,
life
Happy
easier.
Razufam looks fucking sick.
Oh,
I've never heard of this before.
That sounds interesting. The
Johnny
name
with
is
the
interesting.
off the top rope, elbow into my chest.
Yeah,
Oh.
I'm not voting for 86. Fun fact, everyone, Ender's Game is bad. But Johnny's nominating 86, so we have that recorded.
Okay, 86. What you don't? All right, I can't wait to vote for 86 because that'll knock off a seasonal I never finished too. So there we go.
What about Taxi?
I didn't start Odd Taxi, nor did I intend to. So
Did you
there
start
we go.
86?
I watched the first 5 minutes of an episode.
Oh,
one
okay.
night and then passed out.
So essentially the same thing.
Well, no, but I intended to watch it from the start, because I was like, oh, this sounds really
I
cool. It
gotcha.
sounds like something I would like. It's military. It's I don't know.
It's Ender's Game.
It's Ender's Game. Spoiler.
Whatever you
I've
say.
never seen Ender's Game, so I have no idea what that means.
It's a
Pretty
sure,
much
it's a-
Ender's Game.
It's a movie and that's it. Nothing else.
Yeah,
It doesn't-
exactly.
Sick.
I'm kidding. No, it's a book from what, the 70s, 80s?
Yeah,
I
something
think
like
it's
that.
80s. Oscar, what's it? Something Scott Card. Oscar Scott Card. Orson Scott Card.
I don't know. Either way, it was a good book. I remember reading it as a kid and not really getting it. But yeah. All right, Pete, what have you got?
I'm gonna bring back the meme. I'm gonna bring back what do you say, Satoshi Kon. So I'm gonna recommend Millennium Actress.
Ooh, we have some good choices.
Yeah, we do tonight or this week.
It's a
We've done it.
refreshing change from previous.
Oh, just kidding. Girls und Panzer, baby. Let's go.
Hey.
No,
Are you
Millennium
doing
Actress.
Millennium
Millennium
Concert?
Actress.
Yeah,
No,
I
Oh,
regret.
okay.
I'm
I
actually doing
regret my
Millennium
nomination.
Actress. Though
Okay.
I do really want to watch Girls und Panzer.
I feel like that's a personal thing. So let's just.
It's really
keep it
good.
on
He's
that.
already watched it, I think. So
I
come
haven't seen
on.
Girls und Panzer yet.
Oh, you haven't?
Excellent.
No.
Just
Oh,
watch it
yeah.
yourself. It will be
I want to
good.
watch it sometime.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, I'm gonna mix it up, and instead of nominating a show about child murder like Elfen Lied, I'm gonna nominate a much more modern and less dark child murdery show. So I'm gonna nominate High Rise Invasion.
Oh, Mike, Pat, why? Why?
Because I want to watch it, and it's on my watch list, and I know I will never get to it because it's on Netflix. Otherwise,
Honestly, that would be a really great episode.
I think that would be really fun to talk. I really think that would be fun to talk about too, because in theory, it sounds like a really fun show.
I mean,
And I
Action, mystery, horror.
It's so
it has
bad.
to be good.
It's
But
so bad.
That's the thing. Apparently, it was really bad. But
Yeah.
it's like, how is essentially Hunger Games, but in skyscrapers? Like, how is this bad?
That's
How
cut-
should-
that's-
Have you
mean, you're-
seen Darwin's Game? Because I can tell you how it's bad.
I mean, no, I have not. Thankfully, I guess I intentionally.
I'm
avoided it
nominating
because,
Darwin's Game.
I
but
watched
yeah.
6 episodes of Darwin's Game.
I watched 6 episodes of High Rise Invasion.
All right, well, you're gonna watch 6 more, hopefully.
I hope not.
But yeah, I'll be nominating that because again, I'm endlessly curious about it, and let's mix it up from Elfen Lied because that'll eventually win someday, I guess. But yeah, all right, that wraps up Anime Club. If you want to join us, join the Discord. Come talk to us. Come roast us about our feelings. Please, someone out there who has seen the show and actually liked it, please tell me why and relate to me, because it seems like, again, it felt like I was the only one who really, really liked it enough to be glad to have watched it. So I don't know. I want to hear more. I would love to hear the or see the discussion in the YouTube, or you could just roast me and shit on me, because that's also a perfectly valid option. But yeah, Pete, why don't you wrap everything up?
Yeah, and if you want to do that, all of those links to our Discord, social media, stuff like that is in the description below in our link tree. You can join us through there. If you are interested, you can also vote on these shows. Whether it's, you can DM me on like Twitter, you can join our Discord and DM me, leave a YouTube comment, anything like that. It counts as a vote. And that way you can listen to what you want to hear from us if you like it. Especially if you like us, you should like leave a comment, subscribe, thumbs up, that type of stuff. It helps us beat the algorithms. It helps us get our word out if you enjoy it. If you don't enjoy us, also let me know what I can work on. It'll be great. I'm a fan of constructive criticism, as long as you're nice. So that was Watch Club. So in 2 weeks we'll be doing Odd Taxi, but next week I will be debuting a new trivia game. If you're a 90s kid and watched ESPN and never saw Stump the Schwab, it's that style of game, but with anime. So Miles and Pat from Watch Club will be joining me, along with Brian, very sweet, who has joined us in the past on Anime Jeopardy, and then Sora, who was on my 2020 Anime of the Year video, will also be joining. So that's going to be real fun. We get to crown a new Weeb King for a new type of game. Should be really fun. So we'll see you on next Monday for that. And thanks again, and we'll see you next time.